Each month, the film world turns upside down. Now, let's pour out a glass and talk about it. This is Martini Shot. In today's news, the Writers Guild signed a new deal. Warner Brothers and Paramount merge. Video games get new adaptations. And there might be a new king at the box office. Now, here are your hosts, Braydan Kirkland and Cole James.
We're doing a new thing. We're doing new things here in the writer's room. Welcome, everybody. By now, you probably noticed that we are dressed in different attire than normal. That's because we're doing something a little bit differently today. I'm Braydan Kirkland. This is Cole James, my compatriot. And welcome to our new show, which actually, Cole, I have name suggestions on this new type of show we got here. Basically, we're going to be giving you news. We're giving you movie news. So I have some name suggestions to approve right here on camera before we start. Okay, you ready? Martini Shot, because we're at the end of the month and we're kind of going over everything. It's like the last bit of news of the month. Oh. Martini Shot. That's out of a movie. Or Expo Dump, because we're kind of just dumping exposition movie news. That's a suggestion. Or Video Village, because we're kind of like behind the monitor and looking at everything, and we're on video, I guess. These are the suggestions.
The first two are definitely the best of the...
Doing Martini Shot. I like Martini Shot.
All
most.
right.
Welcome to Martini Shot, everybody. I'm Braydan Kirkland, and beside me, or above me, or below me is...
I'm Cole. Hey. How's it going?
There we go. Let's just jump straight into it. Y'all are here for the news. Let's get into it. First thing on the board. This is coming in literally just a few hours ago. The Writers Guild of America has announced a newly structured 4-year deal with the studios and the American Motion Picture Company. I'm blanking on the action.
Oh no. We're reliable, we swear. We did research
Alliance
on
of Motion Picture and Television Producers. Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. That's the official title. We got some details here, Cole. This has been in the discussions since March, and it's April now, so about a month of negotiations, and they're already reaching a new deal without having to go on strike for very long. It is the first above-the-line union this year to sign a new contract. Before the Directors Guild, before the Actors Guild, actors are still working on internally their negotiations. They should resume negotiations hopefully next month. I'm not sure about the directors. We'll have to look into that before the episode ends. But it's a 90% approval rate of the current new deal, but the turnout has been a bit lower than in previous years. The writers have conceded on accepting some of the they've had to concede to accept this deal. One of the bigger sticking points was the length of the deal. The Writers Guild did not want to go for as long. The Motion Picture Producers Alliance wanted to go 5 years. Writers were not into that. They had to concede. They gave up 1 year. The producers were kind enough to give up 1 year. So this is a 4-year deal. This also includes $321 million, pretty much for the Writers Guild to decide what to do with. It seems the intent is to restructure the very poor and big sticking point, the healthcare plan and the health insurance, which there has been some pushback from the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. It looks like they're not really wanting to make as much concessions and give the writers as much money. But some wins for the writers, which would be us in a few years. This is pretty much the deal that we're going to be entering the workforce in. So, but there are there's been some good progress. Two of the biggest sticking points today was streaming residuals, streaming in general, and AI. The Writers Guild was able to make some small progress in the direction they wanted, in getting residuals for writers on streaming platforms, because monetizing writing for streaming platforms is a bit icky because there's not really a Nielsen ratings for streaming. The streamers just basically provide whatever numbers they want because they have their own internal numbers of how shows are doing. So a bit of a win in that regard. Also, setting up some protections on the AI front, not as much as I'm sure the writers would approve of or necessarily desire, but progress is progress. Progress isn't always linear. President of the Eastern Writers Guild of America has said that their future plans still involve proper pay, monitoring streaming, and monitoring AI. Cole, I'll ask you, based on all that information that we just kind of divulged into, what do you think? Do you think this is a win for the writers, or do you think that maybe the producers and the studios kind of pulled the rug out from under a lot of these underpaid, hardworking individuals?
Well, the writers have been kind of, ever since AI has kind of emerged as something that's capable of halfway writing a script, the writers have been kind of battling against all of the production companies to kind of keep their place in the world. And I think every little bit of ground that they can get kind of helps, especially since we don't know what it's going to look like 50 years in the future. I fear that AI may become good enough to replace human beings, which is not a fun thing to think about, but if we can make some ground and at least delay the inevitable until we find a better solution. Because I would love a career in writing, but
as would I. But what can we really change? We can't control things outside of our own self. Mm-hmm. But my thing is how quickly they turned around. If you'll recall, the last time the Writers Guild went on negotiations, they endured the longest strike in guild history, about 11 months or so. So it seems like the guild is almost like kissing the pinky ring, It seems like they're more concerned about getting right back to work, especially with the current economic state of things being a bit more expensive. I think their main concern is getting writers back in the rooms and getting them pay, and in the process of doing so, making some concessions on things like healthcare and streaming residuals that they probably wouldn't have wanted to otherwise. Do you think what kind of precedent this sets up for the Actors Guild and the Directors Guild as they enter negotiations in the coming months?
Yeah, well, I don't. I have a mixed kind of thought process on the Actors Guild because they get a lot already. Not that they don't always deserve it. You're probably conflating the entire Actors Guild with just the top dogs of the actors, like the Leonardo DiCaprios and the Anne Hathaways. That is true. Yes, I am doing
when the guild is also concerned about, like Bobby Miller, who's playing dead guy number 4 on Law and Order, and he needs to make a living wage too. So it's like, do you think that the Actors Guild and the Directors Guild are going to be as kind of tail tucked between the legs, let's say, even as they approach the Producers Alliance?
I think those two guilds have a lot more power and strength when it comes to these things. They're able to get a lot more of what they want because the industry values them a lot more.
Definitely.
Now, when we look at this, every role here is important in filmmaking. You can't really do anything without the other. But when it comes to like a director, for example, I've seen directors that can also write. And when you have a jack of all trades, the industry will listen to them a little bit more. There are actors that also produce, and they sometimes write too. It's not always great, but I've seen instances where it comes out fine.
Sure.
So as they enter negotiations, I think they're going to probably get more of what they want than the Writers Guild will, because it's usually how it ends up when I see it happen.
I would be inclined to agree. For those of you that aren't aware, fun bit of trivia, the current president of the Directors Guild of America is none other than British-born modern legend Christopher Nolan. He has a bit more sway than probably the president of the Writers Guild of America. Who is it? Actually, I should look up who it is.
Well, while you're looking that up, I do have a fun fact about the Directors Guild. So
what's that?
The Oscars, this past Oscars, which as of this recording, it's April 25th, 2026. We probably won't be releasing it today, but the past Oscars had the first casting director award. And
really?
The reasoning that there was never an award for a casting director is because the Directors Guild actually prevented it because they felt it took away from the director, which is kind of just the dumbest fucking thing ever. But
yeah, pretty much.
It goes to show how the industry is full of greed, but that's how it's designed. Every industry is designed to make money. So when people want recognition, they fight for it. So that's just the way that kind of ends up. But I am very happy that the casting directors got some recognition from the Oscars this year.
Absolutely.
But
definitely an ego-driven industry we work in. The president of the Writers Guild is Michelle Maroney, and the president of the Screen Actors Guild is Sean Astin, most known for some of his 80s classics like The Goonies, also appeared in Lord of the Rings. So you can just kind of, off of that, Christopher Nolan, Sean Astin, bigger names that I'm sure people are just inclined to listen to and agree with more than someone not as well known on a grand scale like Michelle Maroney, however good of work she has done as a writer and as the president of this guild. So to your point, yeah, I do think the Directors Guild and the Actors Guild are going to have a bit of an easier time getting what they want, as the Writers Guild just kind of has set the precedent, yes, but maybe in a way that won't be reflected overall.
Yeah.
So we'll continue to monitor that and the progression of the other guilds and what the Writers Guild does next now that they have a new deal in place for 4 years. So next negotiations will begin in around 2030. So keep an eye out on that. As AI continues to progress, streaming continues to grow, it'll be interesting to see. I think 2030 could be a pivotal year, depending on the future of writing in general.
Yep.
So, moving on. Let's get to the big ticket item. That's happening. That's been happening for the past few weeks, months, and has officially become true just about 2 days ago. Warner Brothers Discovery. All of their shareholders have overwhelmingly approved the purchase of their company to Paramount. But a big caveat there towards the end of it. It's been expected. It's been in the cards for quite a while. There was a bit of a back and forth with other opposing company, Netflix, the big streaming giant. They wanted to buy Warner Brothers, and it looked for a while like they were going to. They had made a couple of different offers, even increasing their initial offer to entice Warner Brothers shareholders even more. And at one point, I don't know if you remember, the shareholders did agree to it, and it looked like it was all said and done. But out of nowhere, Paramount comes swooping back in. They realize the lucrativeness of this deal, and they weren't going to take it lying down. So the final number that's been greenlit, $111 billion. That's some chunk change just lying around. It's going to move David Ellison, son of Oracle co-founder and tech giant, and in the back pocket of some certain president, Larry Ellison. So that's important to note, I believe. He's helped come in and secure this huge deal for Paramount. This is further consolidation of the Hollywood system. How many big companies are there now? There's Disney, which owns Fox and ABC and ESPN and all these other small subsidiaries. Now Paramount's come in. They've merged with Discovery Channel. They merged with all those companies. They own CBS. Now they own Warner Brothers, one of the one of the last remaining original big motion picture companies. We also have Amazon, which purchased MGM a couple years ago, and now Netflix, which is kind of coming out of the woodworks over the past few decades and has made themselves a big player. So what used to be a smaller oligopoly of multiple different companies in more of a perfect competition, now we're almost at a true oligopoly, stepping towards a monopoly in the entertainment industry. And when you're at a point in your country's history, we can't talk about this without getting into politics, because I think this is a very politically indicative move. When you're at a point in your country's history where free speech and censorship is a bit of a concern, having this much consolidation of influence overall is a bit of a red flag and a bit of a concern for the general public. What do you make of this, Cole? What do you make of Paramount swooping in and taking Warner Brothers out from the nose of Ted Sarandos and Netflix?
Well, it's a very historical moment. Warner Brothers was founded in the 20s, 1923, by four brothers. I mean, that's why they're called Warner Brothers. It was, let's see. I had to Google this, sorry. Harry, Albert, Sam, and Jack Warner. I knew about Jack Warner, but I couldn't remember the other three. But I mean, literally, this studio, 103 years old. And
103.
Now they're being bought by another one of the original giants, because Paramount was 1912.
Which is true. Yeah, absolutely.
And we're getting down to where the original studios are kind of being owned by other bigger corporations. Because, like you said, MGM is owned by Amazon. And
RKO is no more. You know, one of the original film companies. They've all the others have really kind of fallen to the sands of history. Now we're at a point where we're at whether you like it or not, I think we're at a critical point in the entertainment world where we get to decide, us, the new generation of artists and art enjoyers even, I think, have a chance to decide what happens going forward. I think with your pockets speak louder than your words may in this scenario. My concern with a Netflix deal would be the death of the movie theaters. That doesn't seem to be a concern as much anymore. Ted Sarandos did say that he wanted to limit the theatrical window release to about 15 days. That's barely 2 weeks of a movie out in theaters. How long does it take you to go see a movie in theaters? At least 3 weeks. You gotta hear from your friends that saw it opening weekend, and then you gotta hear from someone else that was like, hey, that movie was pretty good. You should go check it out.
Yeah,
it takes time to build that word of mouth to make movies kind of grow from a somewhat success to a big success.
Well, and some people like to see a movie more than once, and 2 weeks. People have busy schedules. Sometimes people don't have enough time to see a movie more than once. And I went to see. This is just one that comes to mind, but I saw Avengers Endgame like 2 or 3 times in the theater.
Absolutely.
I'm sure I've done that since then, because that came out in 2019. I want to say, but the theater's a magical experience, and that was my biggest concern with the whole Netflix deal, which is kind of why I was hoping, if Warner Brothers had to be purchased, that Paramount would do something. Mainly just because I saw they were wanting to do something there, but it does seem to have worked out. I know there is talk of there being kind of political connections with the higher ups there at Paramount, but something tells me they're not going to be dumb enough to try and, how do I put this, pull a Disney and put in their own political agenda.
Essentially, we'll have to. I do have to make a note that Paramount, which owns CBS News, has put in some controversial figures at the top of that, and we've already seen some of the ramifications of that move of having Barry Weiss a bit of a controversial figure in the public news space, taking over that sector, and how that has affected a very popular and withstanding program of 60 Minutes has come under some fire. Will that be the case for Warner Brothers? We can't necessarily say. I think, again, it's going to have to be, time will tell what will happen on the political side of the agreement. But with that in mind, I do think we have to take the win a little bit here just to give us something. It looks like movie theaters may be okay in the hands, with Warner Brothers in the hands of Paramount. I didn't mention at the top of this story, there was a big loss for some of these bigger top executives. That being that the shareholders did approve the sale of Warner Brothers to Paramount, which was overwhelmingly in favor of the deal. And all of those shareholders got a compromise of $31 per share. Not bad. They got some payout. But the symbolic victory here is that a majority of the Warner Brothers shareholders did vote against the compensation package for CEO David Zaslav, who had tried to have a golden parachute in place for this deal. Most of the shareholders voted against that. Now, it is worth noting that Warner Brothers and Discovery, the board, could still go ahead and pay out David Zaslav and other of the top executives and give them that golden parachute anyways. But I think it's important to know that, this was a symbolic rebuke, as Variety calls it. I'm trying to think of my question.
Yeah.
What do you think of... What do you make of this? What do you make of the shareholders basically saying no to David Zaslav, who has come under fire for writing off films for tax purposes and, withholding the release of projects and things of that nature when he was in charge? Now he's asking for money to get out of this thing, and he's basically being told by the shareholders no. Do you think that people are tired of his antics? Do you think this was a rebuke of his actions? Or do you think this was more of like an overall, like, we can get poetic, we can wax poetic about this and say that, the people have had enough of these executives and we're finally taking a stand?
Well, let me start off by saying, not an expert in this side of the industry, but
sure. Well, we got to talk about it.
But
this is big stuff.
When it comes to this industry, there are a lot of times where bad movies are made on purpose for tax write-off purposes. Now, in the instance of Warner Brothers did the same thing. They did that with Batgirl, a movie that was completely deleted. Nobody even got to see it, and it was fully complete. All they had to do was release it, although distribution and all that, financing for distribution and advertising and all that would have been a bit more money. But instead, the CEO at the time, which I can't remember the name there, but he was just like, scrap it, delete it, and now it's gone. So a whole, I want to say 2.5 hour movie.
David Zaslav.
Yeah. So it's kind of, maybe the shareholders are kind of just testing the waters. This is a big move. They're kind of trying to just see what everything's going to look like. They don't want to overcomplicate this thing. They're already kind of selling what they own here to Paramount, and they don't know what the ecosystem at Paramount's going to be like for them. So they're kind of just maybe trying to feel it out, kind of trying to see what's going on. But I think it's big.
This may be a watershed moment in the industry. We may be looking back on this in a couple of years and saying, we didn't foresee everything, all the ripples that may have come from this. I think I would encourage you at home, and if you're interested even in a little bit about the movie industry, this is the time to really show what you want and what you care about with what movies you see and what you purchase what tickets you purchase. Because I think these executives over pretty much any of the options, even Ted Sarandos maybe, Larry Ellison, David Zaslav, these guys, money talks to them. And I think with all of the concerns, with the politics and the censorship and the freedom of speech and all of this and that, which may or may not even really occur in the way we want it to, my logic would dictate otherwise based on previous actions and the state of things today. But we can't really say for certain until we have to watch, you know. But what I will say is that these people, what morals aside, they're going to listen to cash. So if you see a movie that's coming out and it looks like something that you're interested in and it's the kind of things that you want to see more of, I would heavily encourage you, go see this in theaters as soon and as often as possible. Tell your friends to do the same. This is the time for us to speak up of the things that we want to see, and maybe they'll listen. You know, this is just about the only thing we can do at this phase because it's such a big transition and we don't even know all of the ramifications of this deal. But we do know one thing for certain. It's going to be big, and it's probably going to change the entire industry as we know it. Whether movie theaters live or die, that's still up in the air. I think if Netflix is one, that would have been decided. Now, this is a bit more of a nebulous future in my eyes, and I think it's going to be up to us as the audience and us as future writers to really help guide the ship in our own way.
Yeah.
Bit of a dark future, but it also could be very bright and positive. You know, Warner Brothers is still there, and their movies will still continue to be made and put in theaters. I think, if anything, let's look on the bright side and kind of end this on a positive note. Ted Sarandos. I know this is supposed to be like a news segment, but this is still the writer's room, so we have to have our flair.
Yeah.
Message. I wish we could have Ted Sarandos on the show. Ted Sarandos, fuck you and everything that you were trying to do. Okay, you know
he's definitely coming on now.
He's gonna come on, and we're gonna
coming on now.
Rip him his first asshole because I don't believe he has one to begin with. I fully believe he doesn't. Moving on. Let's switch some gears and maybe let's talk about something a bit brighter. Do you got anything for us, Cole?
Well, before we move on, actually.
Oh, yeah, please, by all means.
Yeah, one more thing, because I know the DC people, they're out there. There's not a lot. Most of them are
the
comic
one or
book
two
fans.
DC fans out there. This one's for you.
Yeah, you might want to keep holding your breath because as much as I liked James Gunn's Superman, that still could come to an end. That's not safe. Because
true.
With new leadership, I think this is a big deal too. Because DC's been trying to get their start since they were successful in the 90s. Because they had a few decent movies in the 90s, and then since Marvel took over, they have not been able to make up ground in the theaters or even streaming. So James Gunn, I think, is trying to break away from formulaic ideas. The industry doesn't typically go for that. So we need to wait and see. Keep holding your breath. I know it's been a long time because, I mean, ever since Netflix started talking, we've all been kind of like, ooh. And, you know, I love Superman. I love Batman. I'm dying to see
Batman.
I'm dying to see a really, although I liked the Robert Pattinson Batman a little bit. I enjoyed that.
I was quite a fan. I will say, it seems as if Paramount CEO David Ellison did say he wanted to keep the creative teams as they were upon a merger, and it looked like he wanted to only consolidate marketing and distribution teams. It seems as if, for the time being at least, all of the staff at Warner Brothers will continue to exist independently and operate. But depending on the success of these next few films, that could quickly change.
Yeah, and James Gunn is a very
might be on the hot seat.
He's known to be opinionated person on what he believes in. And so I say what I say only because if the higher ups above him disagree with anything he kind of says or any themes he wants to put into his next film, the DC universe may be in trouble. But it's been in trouble since the 90s, like I said. So, but I don't know. I liked the Superman movie. I don't know about if the Supergirl movie is going to be any good. Hopefully it is, but
we'll have to see, definitely. I do think James Gunn's actions could set the precedent for other people at Warner Brothers. If
Absolutely.
he continues to go on his lambasting, we'll say, of specifically Israel and some other political things happening in the world, and Paramount doesn't do anything, the same as how they handled South Park when they went on their whole Donald Trump parody raid. That could set a precedent for people to be a bit more vocal. But if James Gunn continues or quits, but if he continues and they shut it down quickly, people might be a bit more scared to say what they want or what they're feeling. So
I do think it's going to start there, which is why I'm bringing this up.
Eyes are going to be on James Gunn. James Gunn, you might have the weight of the future of film on your shoulders. Whether you like it or not, it's up to you to do what you think is right and what you think is the most James Gunn-ass thing, which probably would end in him doing a dance battle with David Ellison and Cue Dog Days by Florence and the Machine, and we'll just see what happens.
Yes. All right, now moving on. This is a segment. We're moving on to a happier note. I'm very excited for if you watch the podcast or even the Skyrim kind of series that we did, the 2-episode Skyrim thing that we did. Y'all know I'm a big video game fan. I love to.
I might say the biggest.
I love to kind of explore the worlds of video games and kind of how those stories are told a little bit. And, just a big fan. I mean, this year we all know we got like Street Fighter and all that. A gaming industry legend. When they release games, people flock to whatever store to spend all of their money to obtain a copy of the next game. From Software, maker of Dark Souls, is working to make 3 of their universes into a TV show or movie. The first, coming out this year, Sekiro No Defeat, based on Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. The only FromSoft game I have not been able to beat.
Oh, interesting.
It is very difficult, but it is set in Japan, following a shinobi who is going to save his master, who is set to be the next of kin to rule this region. The release date isn't exactly known. It had a release date in March, but it seems to have been pushed back. It is an anime, so it is being kind of produced over in Japan. I'm not super familiar with the anime industry, but typically Japanese animation studios know what they're doing. There is a trailer out. We can link that in the description. Maybe.
Yeah, that'd be cool. We'll try to link all of our sources as well, so you can do your own reading.
Yep, and feel free to do your own research. But I can say,
absolutely,
the director involved here is known for work on One Punch Man and Mob Psycho 100. I haven't seen Mob Psycho 100, but I have seen early One Punch Man, and I'm a big fan of early One Punch Man.
Some good stuff.
And the studio over there has been working closely with From Software. From Software loves their IPs. They are very close in terms of keeping the art style the same. So if you're a fan of that, go check that out when it's released on Crunchyroll later on this year. The next universe, which has some set photos leaked. The live-action Elden Ring movie has started filming.
Yes, very true.
Very exciting. I've seen some of the set
absolutely.
photos. It looks like the game. It seems to be really keeping everything to be the faithful, iconic world that we see in Elden Ring. We already know that the Dung Eater himself, his scene is making an appearance.
Wow. Interesting.
Braydan's sitting there like, who the fuck is Dung Eater?
I don't know. The one name I do know, Alex Garland, director
Yes.
of the Elden Ring film.
Correct.
Most known as the writer of the 28 Days Later franchise.
That's right.
Director of A24 classics like Civil War and Ex Machina. Maybe not classics, but Ex Machina, fantastic film.
Mhm.
I would trust him with a big franchise like this. I think he's been in the cards of doing something big like this. He's also attached, I believe, to the Death Stranding adaptation. So, from the set photos, from the pedigree of the talent behind the adaptation, this could be pretty exciting, especially with the string of the reputation of the string of video game film adaptations being less than stellar, especially here in recent times with the release of the Super Mario Galaxy movie and upcoming releases of Mortal Kombat 2 and Street Fighter, which remains to be seen how those movies are going to be received. But things are looking up. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Elden Ring.
Yes. The final universe I'd like to mention, and we've talked about this game on this show, Bloodborne is getting an animated movie. Gonna be honest, I creamed my pants when I heard about this one.
He
I was
when he heard this
very
one.
excited. We haven't had Bloodborne stuff since like 2015.
I edged a little bit when I heard the news. I did not fully bust, but I was quite excited when I heard this.
Yes.
Cole has mentioned his love of Bloodborne. Our feature film on the Writer's Room, Ouroboros, that we're working on, was originally taken inspiration from Bloodborne.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually want to ask you, Cole, how, on a scale of 1 to 10, how fucking pissed are you that this is happening? And that you're not involved.
Yeah.
And that you're not involved in any way, shape, or form. Well,
yeah, on that side, I am actually a little upset, but I do think we have made a world different enough that we can,
that is true, but it's not Bloodborne, the thing that you loved.
But
this is me just instigating right now. I just want to see. I want to see some fireworks. I want to see some passion.
So
I don't think I'm gonna get it.
Well, quick fun fact: Bloodborne itself was actually inspired by a movie, which is Brotherhood of the Wolf from 2001. I haven't seen the movie, but I've taken a look at it. It does look very similar. It does take similar ideas, it would seem. So I think to take inspiration from a game and kind of create a new world, it's completing the cycle, because Bloodborne took inspiration from the movie, and then we took inspiration from Bloodborne and we made our own thing.
Do you have anything to say to fellow YouTuber and producer
of the
Bloodborne film, Sean McLaughlin, aka Jacksepticeye? Do you have anything to say to Mr. McLaughlin? Do you want to ask for a job on the film? Do you want to wish him anything? Do you want to send him a threat on encroaching on our territory as we're about to write our film? What do you have to say to Mr. McLaughlin?
I know he's a huge fan, and I think that's totally appropriate. He's mentioned in interviews he's not doing this for money. He's doing this for the love of the craft. He wants to make something that is accurate, that is faithful. We're all hoping for a scenario where we get another Bloodborne. So if this movie gives us another Bloodborne, I think Mr. McLaughlin will have achieved his goal. And I mean, to have a fan be producing this, I'm not even going to be one to ask for a job because I trust that he's going to find people that will do this justice. Because that's all I care about here. I mean, there have been a lot of video game adaptations that have really just gone off the rails in terms of its faithfulness. Mario movie from the 90s, The Witcher Netflix TV show. Even Game of Thrones
Max
started
Payne.
Oh, I forgot about Max Payne.
Max Payne, the Mark Wahlberg movie.
Mm-hmm.
The Hitman movies, both of them. There was two of those.
Yeah. Even the adaptation of Game of Thrones straight away from the books and had a, spoiler alert, terrible ending. If you haven't seen it, it's a good show until the very end. But that was even based on a book.
Where have you been?
So these things only do well when somebody that loves the universe has control over kind of adapting it. When we're talking about the Elden Ring movie, I've forgotten his name. Alex Garland.
Alex Garland.
He played through Elden Ring several times to make sure he's getting these things right. And that was while writing the script. So I imagine our Lord and Savior Jacksepticeye will be playing Bloodborne and making sure he gets the right writers, the right director, the right animators, a cast that can pull it off. It's a very unique and bizarre world. I'm hoping this summer, when we start up on the feature again, we'll be able to do either a partial or full playthrough on our little gaming side of the writer's room.
We'll definitely check it out.
Yeah,
we'll do some research for you, Mr. McLaughlin. We'll help you out.
Yeah, I would actually love to see how we would create a Bloodborne movie when we were doing the playthrough.
Do that. Interesting.
But those are three very exciting things.
Mr. McLaughlin, I just want to say my message to you. I'm not familiar with Bloodborne, but my very, very, very good friend, best friend here, Cole, is, and he loves it. So if you fuck this up, I'm going to cut you.
You won't have to. You. I've seen interviews. He will cut himself if he fucks it up. He loves it that much, dude.
I don't want you to cut yourself. Because suicide is not the answer. But I want to cut you. Because murder is the answer. Okay. Well, yes. Movie world on a whole, maybe. Movie world with video game adaptations in mind. Mm-hmm. Now that's a bit of a different story.
Yeah. I'm hoping the Street Fighter movie is fun too. I saw 50 Cent in it, and I thought that was hilarious.
It looks pretty campy. It looks like a fun time. I think I'll probably enjoy it. It just looks like a silly fun time. I have seen some internet reactions, and they're maybe not as warm and receptive as I and maybe you are.
Fair enough. I will say I did see the Mario Galaxy movie, and for what it is,
I've also seen it.
I had fun with it for what it is. I knew going into it, I think we all knew it was going to be a movie full of references that had kind of a mid-story, and that's kind of it's an Illumination movie. They made the Minions, for God's sake. I think that this is
made the fucking Minions.
I think this is better than what they usually make, at least. And
they shoved those yellow cocks down our throat.
Well, yeah. But I don't know. I had some fun with the Mario Galaxy movie.
I'm glad you had fun with it. Me personally, I thought that it was like made in a room of executives just to be distributed on TikTok later. Because of how disjointed it felt.
100%. 100%. No, it was a bad movie overall, but I liked it.
So overstimulating that I'm worried for the future of kids' entertainment. Mm-hmm. But it was fun. I mean, like, there was some fun, like, fun moments. Like, Fox McCloud and Mr. Game & Watch came and da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
So fun.
If you know what you're getting
Honestly,
into.
Those were fun.
Yeah. We all knew it wasn't going to be a good movie, but it's the Mario movie. This is adapting a game that has been telling the same story of a princess in another castle for like 30 years. So I don't know what anybody expected.
That's true. We can't expect like a Memento-ass time-bending narrative that really is worth.
Well, you thought Mario
attention.
would be talking about emotion and like betrayal or something? No, it's going to save some princess captured by Bowser. That they've been telling the same story. I mean, what? No, they were 80s. So it's been 40 years.
Just because they've been doing it the whole time doesn't mean that they can't change. But I do get your point. I do understand. That's just what Mario is.
That's just
and
what
to expect
it is.
Much more is a bit absurd.
I think.
Moving on to go ahead.
The legend now with the Legend of Zelda adaptation, which I do believe is in the works, that will have some more emotion to it. So maybe keep an eye on that, folks and audience members.
We'll definitely look into that.
Okay. Anyway, you can move on.
We're gonna end it off here with just two more little bits. One last bit of news and one kind of wrapping up thing. We're gonna talk about box office because this is April, folks. Yep. End of April. Let's do a health check on the box office. And the biggest news right now, currently, is that the Michael Jackson biographical film, Michael, has earned $39.5 million in just opening night. Just in America, released in about 4,000 theaters. The early projections for the weekend are a staggering $90 million to $100 million. This is all off of Variety's article from today. That would easily be the biggest debut for a music biopic, which would overcome both Bohemian Rhapsody and Straight Outta Compton, which were largely regarded well by critics. Michael is a different story, has about 39% on Rotten Tomatoes, if you are the kind of person that cares about that sort of thing. Regardless, it does look like the appetite for music biopics has not dwindled at all, which has been a very big mainstay in the past, 2 decades? These movies have just been churning and churning and churning, and now we're getting a movie about one of the biggest pop stars ever, bar none, and it's making bank.
Literally
regardless
the king of pop.
The quality of the movie. He is the king of pop.
Yeah.
And regardless of the quality of the movie, say what you will about Jafar Jackson's performance, which is being highly regarded among critics, the film as a whole is continuing this trend of music biographical films being box office just like magnets and critical up and down because of how formulaic these movies tend to be.
Yeah.
So we do have another huge monumental biographical film in the waterworks. In fact, we have 4. This is Sam Mendes's 4-part Beatles adaptation coming out at around 2028. I think this bodes well for those movies, based on how good Michael is performing, and a lot of money and a lot of time and efforts being sunk into these Beatles movies. Do you where's the line? Where does this trend stop? I know we've been having some superhero fatigue. It does not look like we're having any musician fatigue at all. Do you think this trend continues into the next decade even?
Well, I noticed this became a very huge thing starting with Bohemian Rhapsody back in 2018, I believe. And
correct.
Then we moved on to Rocket Man, and it just kept going from there. I loved the Elvis movie, and I think what Hollywood discovered is Hollywood loves to find patterns. They love to be safe. They love to find a way to make money, as all industries do. To put it in simple terms, let's talk about Michael Bay for a second. Michael Bay makes movies for teenage boys because he puts explosions and he puts sexy girls in his movies. Teenage boys flock to those. They are simple creatures. It's not hard to please them. They make Hollywood a lot of money. So when people that love music became an audience to Hollywood, they were like, wait a minute, we can tell these stories about musicians and make a lot of money. So I think until the money kind of starts to dwindle a little bit, we're going to be seeing these for probably another few decades, because there's a lot of musical artists out there with probably a lot of very compelling and interesting origin stories. I would love to see an AC/DC movie, because I'm a big fan of them.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the formula was really cracked by Bohemian Rhapsody, I think, because that movie made about $1 billion. But I mean, this trend has been around. I mean, Straight Outta Compton was 2015.
Yeah, that's true.
Hank Williams movie, I'm forgetting what year that was released, but the Tom Hiddleston Hank Williams movie was earlier than that. Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash movie with Joaquin Phoenix, was about 2005.
Yeah.
And I mean, Lady Sings the Blues, 1972, about Billie Holiday. I mean, this is a thing that's been going around in Hollywood for a long time. It's just that it seems that Bryan Singer and the producers of Bohemian Rhapsody cracked the code of how to make money, like big amounts of money, and how to win awards, which has been, I think, the biggest draw for studios, is that these movies are not only commercial successes, but they will win Oscars. Rami Malek winning an Oscar for playing Freddie Mercury. Timothée Chalamet had a good campaign for playing Bob Dylan. Austin Butler went crazy on his campaign for Elvis Presley. And it seems like, I mean, Jeremy Allen White even was a dark horse contender when he played Bruce Springsteen. It seems like Jafar Jackson might have some momentum going into the Best Actor race for playing his uncle, Michael Jackson. Definitely all four of the people playing the Beatles, Harris Dickinson, Paul Mescal, Barry Keoghan. I'm blanking on the fourth individual, but it looks like they're all pushing for an Oscar with these Beatles movies. They're going to be competing against each other, likely. But they're making crazy amounts of money. Michael making about $40 million in 1 or 2 days is insane. It probably will cross the 90 million threshold on the opening weekend. It may end up grossing 500 million on this trajectory, even more depending on the drop off of the second weekend. I definitely think this is a trend to stay, and there are plenty of untapped artists with great stories. Oh, Ray, I forgot about that one. The Jamie Foxx, Ray Charles film, that was 2001. That also was a bit of a precursor, but Jamie Foxx, I believe, won the Oscar for playing Ray Charles. So, I mean, this has been a thing for forever. We're just really now becoming cognizant of the formula and how recurring this is. I think the thing for studios, I'm going to give a note to the studios, try to change up the formula, do something a little different. I don't know why I immediately thought of the Family Guy episode where they parodied all these music biopic movies with like The Doors and whatnot, but like we're making fun of the formula. Like it's musician comes out of nowhere, they get some early success, they fall in love, they do drugs, they die, or blah 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 blah, like that. We know the story. Do something a little differently. I'm gonna give a shout out to Better Man, the Robbie Williams biopic, which decided to get a little creative and basically portrayed the singer, the protagonist, as a CGI monkey. For what reason? There are some artistic reasons for that moment of choice, but the main idea was that it was different and people hadn't seen that before. Be creative, folks. There are some the Weird Al movie with Daniel Radcliffe.
I love the Weird Al movie.
Very satirical, making fun of the formula. I mean, things like that. Like, there's still space to be creative in such a formulaic film genre, because this is a genre at this point.
Well, a great example besides the Robbie biopic is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Is has
True,
the
yeah,
B story
yeah.
be kind of part of what's her name? Musician
Sharon
played
Tate.
by Sharon Tate. That's who it is. But it's kind of having Sharon Tate's story be told in a different light. So I think, and a recent example where maybe they weren't creative enough was Whitney Houston's biopic. I Want to Dance with Somebody. I don't think that
absolutely.
did very well. So I think you have a good point there. Because I remember the Whitney Houston movie released, and then it kind of just went dark for a little bit. But I mean, the editor can correct me if I'm wrong there. But yeah, I think you have some points.
I think let's see. We have some things for y'all to look out for in the coming days, months, and apparently years. We're looking at the guild negotiations, as the Writers Guild have just ratified a new deal. Streaming, or the screen actors and directors are entering their negotiations. Warner and Paramount, that's the big one over these next few, however long. We're going to have to look out to see what happens there. We did specify specifically James Gunn and his standing could be a watershed moment for how the rest of the things will play out. We discussed some of these film adaptations of video games from Software, specifically Sekiro. I believe I said that right.
Sekiro.
Elden Ring. Sekiro, Elden Ring, and also a fan favorite of the show, Bloodborne. And we're talking about Michael movie biopics as a whole and how those are making money, making gold, both in cash and in Oscars. Lots to look out for, but to end things off, let's talk about us, because we're also into movies. We like to make them. We like to watch them. Cole, to end this inaugural episode of Martini Shot, is there a movie coming out soon that you're kind of excited about and want to talk to the audience about?
So it's not like a new movie, but I am going to see in a theater Fight Club for the first time. Which Fight Club was released way back in the late 90s. 1999 to be specific. So to
25 years now.
Yeah. So to get this opportunity to see it in the theater, I think is going to be really special. I've heard that it's good. My movie knowledge is a bit gapped. I need to watch more movies. But it's got an 81% on Rotten Tomatoes. It seems to score fairly well. Director's David Fincher.
Magnificent film. I definitely think it's something that you would enjoy a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Has a bit of a reputation for being a film bro film, but I think with good regard, it is a high quality film. Something that I think you will enjoy a lot. And I'm a bit jealous that you're getting to see the 4K 25th anniversary screening at the Lucas Theater in Savannah, no doubt. A great venue.
Mm-hmm.
You will enjoy it. And I want you to tell me what you think.
Yes.
I am excited about the release of Damian McCarthy's newest horror film, Hokum, starring Adam Scott, coming out this upcoming Friday, on May 1st. I am a big horror fan, and this one has been on my radar for a bit. I am excited about the buzz it is getting out of from some festivals and some early screenings. Currently holds a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. Again, if that's something that that's on your radar. I also like to look at Letterboxd scores because that gives you a bit more of the public's perception. It's sitting at about 3.9 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. So I'm seeing some good reception. This is a director. He made Jesus, my brain fog is insane right now. Made some pretty notable horror films like Oddity and Caveat, which were just some really great inventive horror films. Hokum looks to be quintessentially Irish horror, folksy, and I am quite excited. And I'm just excited to see more Adam Scott in things other than comedies. I know that's how he made his career, but what he's done in Severance and some of these other genre forays, he's a very talented actor. I think this could be a really big break for him in the movies. I would be trying to see it opening weekend, if not opening day, and I will let y'all know what I think of Hokum. So that's going to do it for this inaugural episode of Martini Shot, the news segment here on the Writers Room. Let us know what you thought. Do you like if you like this style of content, we'll probably be revisiting it, whether you give us your thoughts or not, because I think I enjoyed it. This was very informative. We will definitely even try to tweak with the format, maybe even give you some more stories. I guess it'll kind of depend on how things go over the next month, if there's even any stories to talk about. But we'll maybe even consider revisiting some of these stories as they continue to progress over the months. But thank you so much for listening. Make sure to even do your own research on some of these things and stay informed, because this is, like we've mentioned, this is a critical time in movies. So you need to stay informed and you need to do your part. So typical Writers Room shebang. Subscribe to the channel, hit notifications. If you're listening on a podcast, if this isn't going up on the podcast, we're on other services as well: YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Apple. Check us out on everything. Also, we have links to Instagram and TikTok, which we haven't really touched in a bit, but they're there. And give us your thoughts, whether positive or negative. Just let us know what we can improve on and what we can do to make your viewing experience all the better. And stay buzzed out there, my friends. This is Martini Shot. So stay buzzed, stay informed, and watch some goddamn movies. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll cue it out. All right. This is the part of the news where they the lights go down and they just they mouth the words and they pretend like they're talking, but nothing is heard. So it's all right. So then you look to your left. This way? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, all right. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you next time. Goodbye. Okay, you can cut it out.